go. Woohoo! Spun him in second. At 60, we're already there. I just chirped him in second and third. That's awesome. The Supra's built on the same platform as the BMW Z4, but it does not look anything like a BMW. And that's kind of a good thing. It kind of sets itself apart, and it's why I love this Supra. Now, you can see I'm 6 foot tall. It is a little hard for me to get in and out of this thing, but it is a joy to drive, and once you get in, it's pretty comfortable too. One thing I can tell you is the front end of this is awesome. I love this front end, and then I also love these matte black aluminum wheels. They are awesome. Do have the red calipers in there to also, it just looks super sporty. You know, it kind of gives me a little bit of miniature Dodge Viper feel to it. Now the rear is not one of my favorites, but it is distinctive of the Supra, and everybody will know what it is when it's coming down the road. This rear air diffuser though is pretty awesome, and I like how it has the dual exhaust, and this is a little brake light underneath there also. Let's take a look at the trunk and see how much space you actually can get in here. So that comes up, and it looks like you have about 10 cubic feet of space. I am a little surprised at how much space there is back here. Wow. Now you can see those two subs right there for the JBL audio system. That's pretty awesome. All right, there is your tiny little hatch. I mean, it looks like a big hatch, just not a whole lot of room in there. All right. This is the GR Supra with the 3.0 liter turbo inline-6. Has 382 horsepower, 368 pound-feet of torque. Now you do get a choice of an 8-speed automatic or a 6-speed manual. This one does have the 6-speed manual, and it is a blast to drive. You get a 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds. Now your fuel economy, depending on whether you have automatic or manual, this one being the manual, you get 19 in the city, 27 on the highway for a 21 mile per gallon average. If you go with the automatic, I believe you actually have about a 24, 25 mile per gallon average. Hey, before we go any farther, why don't you go down and click that subscribe button? It's right down there. That way I can get more cars like this Toyota Supra to bring to you guys, show you all the good things about them and maybe some bad things or just some annoying things. But I will give you all that information, so make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Also turn on your notifications so you don't miss any more reviews. So like I said, I am about 6 foot tall, so I'm gonna show you how it is to get in and out of one of these. Now, if you just have the door cracked open like that, like you would normally if you're in a parking spot, you may not be able to open it up all the way. Still a decent, easy way to get in there. It's not too bad. You do kind of get in and then you just kind of fall into the seat. Plenty of room in here. I do have about 4 inches above my head, which is really nice. And everything else is just really comfortable in here, easy to reach, and great adjustments on these seats. Now getting out, kind of the same thing. It's gonna kind of depend on your age, your height, your size, getting in and out of these things. But if you love it, you love it, and you don't care what the problems are. So there we go. It's not too bad getting in and out, but just take those considerations into effect whenever you are deciding whether you want to get one of these or not. Make sure it's easy and you're going to be fine getting in and out. Okay, so in this one you do have the camel colored leather in here along with the black, which is really nice. Now you do have a compartment right here which is not going to help you out very much. You got a door handle right here. Now you do have like your normal buttons in here. You do have your speaker right there. this is all kind of a soft touch, not like real soft, but decently soft. This is a harder plastic down here. Come over here and you can see you got the Toyota Supra door sill plate. Here are those seats. Now the cool thing about these seats, you have a lot of adjustments. You do have memory setting on here. You do have lumbar. You also can move the sides bolstering in and out to tighten around you, like if on a track day or something like that, or you can loosen them up for when you want to take a cruise and just be a little more comfortable. Now, as you can see, there are no back seats back here. There's nowhere to go. Here is the center display. You have a few options in here, not a lot. But you can start with the My Vehicle, which is what most people do, is go into the settings in here, and then you do have speed warning, speed control. You have the lane keep assist on here, but you don't have lane centering or adaptive cruise. You just have a regular cruise control. And yeah, not a whole lot of extra features here. Vehicle tracking, I don't know who would want to have vehicle tracking on unless you're like tracking your kids driving your sports car that you told them not to drive. And you got some system settings in here for your mobile devices and stuff like that. Now, it does have Apple CarPlay if you go into the settings, but there is no Android Auto, which kind of sucks because I'm an Android guy. Yeah, I'm not real sure. Toyota usually incorporates all Android Auto and Apple CarPlay in all of their cars, but for some reason the GR Supra does not get Android Auto. All right, we'll go over here and we'll go to these gauges here. This is your normal gauges, and they're pretty nice. You do have your digital speedometer here, your tachometer in the middle, your gear in there, and it also has kind of a a dummy gear shift thing. It'll tell you that you should be shifting to another gear, probably to save gas and stuff like that. Your trip and your odometer down at the bottom, and temperature up at the top, along with the time. Fuel gauge is over on the left corner, right down here, and then you have your temperature gauge over here on your right side. Now, if we go into sport mode, press sport, get a little bit different view. So you got some red gauges now. It gives you a little bit more power, changes the mapping on the system and everything, so you get a little more giddy up whenever you want it. But that's it. You really don't have a whole lot of changes there. All right, let's go back to the steering wheel. I like the two-tone look to this steering wheel. Over here, you have all your modes, which is going to control all of your stereo. So you've got your volume control there, and you can switch through those there. And then on this side is all your driver assistance features. So you got cruise control, your plus and minus, set and resume, and that's pretty much it over there. Now, if we go over here, you do have stereo settings right here. So you got quick buttons on that one there, and then down here you do have all of your climate control buttons, and this does have heated front seats. So I really do like having all those buttons there. That's nice. Now, we got a problem down here. So this is your wireless charging pad right here. And my Android Galaxy phone, I do have a case on it, and it will go in there, but there's no way it's going to charge, and it doesn't go all the way back. If I took the case off, it might fit. It just seems like it's pretty small and a little tight there. You do have a USB-A there and a 12-volt power right there. You come back, you do have auto start stop that you can shut off. You have your sport mode button right there. Parking sensors, traction control, and you can turn off any safety system there if you're doing a track day. Electronic parking brake, which is really nice. Now, here is your stuff for your center console. So if you go to media, it will automatically jump you over to that. You can go to menu, which is basically what this is. You have your navigation and communication, and it's pretty nice. You just have this little dial and you can just roll back and forth through things, but it is also touchscreen, so that's pretty cool that they incorporated both. Mazda does not incorporate both. unless you're using Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. So that's nice that they do have the dial, so you keep your hands down here and you're not having to reach and touch stuff, and it just makes it a lot easier to use those functions. And then you do have an option button to turn off the display. As you can see right here, we have a 6-speed manual transmission. Very, very smooth, very easy to use. It did take me a little bit to get it over into reverse because it was something I haven't driven a stick in a while, and this was the first one that I've had for probably over a year that I've driven. And reverse is always one of those things where you got to get it into that special notch and then put it into gear. But the thing that lets you know that you have it in reverse is by when you push it over, you get it over there. You got to push hard and then you press up, and then that brings up your rear view camera. If you don't see a rear view camera pop up, then you don't have it in reverse. Pretty simple to figure out. All right. Now, you do have a glove box over here. So, and it's very, very tiny, just like this car is. This car is very small. I mean, it's not horrible in here, but it is pretty tight. Like I said, the seats are comfortable once you get in them and you get things set up the way that you want. There's not a lot in here, and you don't need a lot because this is a awesome sports car. It's a lot of fun to drive. I've been having so much fun with this thing. Like I said, the shifting is very, very easy to do. So if you haven't driven a stick shift in a while, or it's something where you have an older one that has it's a little finicky and stuff like that, you don't have that problem here. The only thing that I have driven that had a stick shift that might be a little bit easier than this one was the Mustang Dark Horse, or any Mustang GT. If you get a manual transmission, that system is awesome. But other than that, this is great. It's very, very quick, especially driving this manual. When you put your foot down on the gas and you lift off of that clutch and it just throws you into the back of your seat. It is a lot of fun. The engine sounds good and the exhaust sounds amazing. So all of that is a plus. How about we hear some pricing real quick, and then we'll go take this out for a drive. The 2024 GR Supra 2.0 is going to start out at $46,440. Now, if you go up to the Supra 3.0, that's going to start out at $55,400. The next step is what this one is right here, and this is as tested, how it sits right now. The Supra 3.0 Premium, this one comes in at $60,975, and that's with all options and destination fee. You can hear how nice that sounds as we get up to speed, and it just shifts so easy. It's just amazing. It's so easy, so smooth. It feels good in here. When I first got in here, it felt small, like everything was way close on me, which it's not. Of course, I have like 4 inches of headroom. I mean, you guys can see there's plenty of room up there. But everything just feels small. So I think it's more about this black interior here instead of it being more of a lighter color. I think a lighter color would probably make it feel more open in here. So that'd be my suggestion. I find with the black, and it's got this white like stitching in the dash and everything, and I think if they did a lighter color up here to go with the stitching on the dash, I think it would be amazing in here, and it would feel nice and roomy and open. Other than that, the ride is really good. Of course, it's a little stiff, but it's a sports car. That's what it's supposed to be, but it's not harsh or anything like that. These roads out here in the Midwest are not always the greatest because we do have salt and snow and stuff like that. Speaking of snow, they have said that this does have a little bit of problem getting stuck in the snow. It probably has to do with the height off the road, and it's rear-wheel drive, and the amount of power that it puts out when you're trying to drive a stick. It's just, not a good combination for the winter. So I would suggest, if you're going to get this, to make sure you have a winter or a snow vehicle to drive on those snowy days, especially if you are here in the Midwest area or the East Coast where you get a little bit of snow and stuff like that. So might really take that into consideration. But this is something that would be easy to drive on a daily basis. I think it would be fine. You just have to decide how easy it is for you to get in and out of. The rest of this is all laid out very well. Easy to find all of your climate control buttons and things like that. That's not an issue. And this, like I said, the stick shift is easy to shift through. You do have just a sport button down here, easy to turn on if you want to do that. But I think it really is a great car. Do I feel like it's a traditional Supra, you know, from back in the 90s type of Supra? No, I think that this is probably better. I actually like it a lot better. The rear end is the only thing that I am kind of questionable about, but it does set itself aside. There's nothing in Toyota's lineup or anything else that has a rear end like this Supra. So people are gonna know that is a Supra out there in front of them. The cup holders, I mean, there's only so much space in here. The cup holders are kind of in the way. So I've got this one in the back, but if I have it up here and then I'm trying to shift and then I kind of feel like I'm scrunched a little bit, but you know, that's really not that big of a deal. You have to expect that in a sports car like this, you're going to have to give up some room and some space in certain areas. And that's one of them is the cup holder. You're by yourself, just put it in the rear one and then it's out of your way and it won't affect the way that you drive. So we're going to turn around right now and we'll see if we can get out here and get a 0 to 60 real quick. I'll go ahead and kick it into sport mode. All right, we're going to stop. Ready? 0 to 60. 1, 2, 3, go. Woohoo! Spun him in second. That's 60. We're already there. I just chirped him in second and third. That's awesome. Might have been a little harsh on the exchange right there, but this thing got up to 60 very quick. A lot faster than it seems. Just, I think because you're doing stuff, you're shifting and all that stuff, it actually got up there a lot faster than expected. By the time I went to go hit fourth gear, I was already at 60. That's pretty awesome. I'm sure I probably could have even gotten into 60, probably in the second gear and going into third, if I was really watching the tachometer, which I wasn't because I was trying to make sure I was shifting. But wow, that was a lot of fun. And this car is a lot of fun. I mean, even if you got it in sixth gear and you give it some gas, it will push you back into your seat, you know. You don't have to downshift if you don't want to. But if you do choose to downshift, get yourself a little bit more power. We can even go down into fourth. We're still 4,000 RPMs. This is just a fun car to drive. So if you are looking for a sports car, something fun to drive, something that if you want to take it out on a track, you can, and you can have a lot of fun doing it with a smaller price tag. Now, I'm not going to say small price tag because I'm just saying smaller, because there's a lot of cars that are more expensive than this, that this performs just as well. And this one, like I said, I believe right around 60 or so for this one. So the way it's laid out, but you can get it even cheaper than that with most of the same thing that this does and the performance that this puts out. So that's what I think you should look for. Again, make sure you go down, hit the subscribe button so we can get more cars just like this Supra and I can show them all to you. And after that, click on one of the videos that's on the screen right now. I've got one up there that I think you're gonna like. YouTube put one up there that they think you're gonna like. You'll probably like them both. So click on one of them and I will see you in the next review.